This is Ken here with another experience traveling blog post. Obviously, this will be a video blog as well. So, welcome once again. We thought, well, I say we affectionately, as you can see, Christina is not here with me today, but we thought we would talk about currency exchange and the need for going and getting foreign currency. Okay. So let's start about Christine and I have been all over Mexico, all over the Caribbean, uh, several different countries and islands around there too. And we have never felt the need to convert our US dollars into the local currency. In fact, we've been told many times by the staff at the different resorts where we're tipping, like, would you prefer it? Let's say we're in Mexico. Would you prefer Mexican pesos or would you prefer US dollars? And we've always heard US dollars are much better for them. Now, I also hear the contrary from that. Remember, we're members of a vacation club, and so I'm in different groups with the vacation club, and I see all kinds of different posts in there about this, about how the workers hate to be tipped in U.S. dollars, especially in Mexico. Hate to be tipped about with U.S. dollars because they have to exchange it and all those sorts of things. I've never found that to be a problem. No staff person has ever said, "Hey, I'm not going to take your U.S. dollar if you want to give it to me to tip." In fact, I've done a little research about that because we're getting ready to open bank accounts in Cabo because of our condos, and we'll be spending quite a bit more time down there. Hopefully, very soon. Hopefully, by the end of 2025. Um, and they have both peso and US dollar accounts. We're actually going to open a peso account at the bank as opposed to US dollar account. And I specifically asked about, okay, what if I want to send or wire transfer US funds down here from the United States? Are there like more fees? Is it a big deal? Like, nope, not a problem at all. Not an issue. And the local bank will convert the dollars from, so if there's a waitress that works at one of the resorts and they take a bunch of this cash to the local bank will just convert it and put it right into their account. Now there might be conversion fees and stuff for that. That might be true, but I've never seen that as being a problem. It's definitely never been a problem in Jamaica. It's definitely never been a problem in the Dominican Republic. Not a problem at Antigua. Not a problem at any of these various islands that we've been to in the Caribbean either. Never been a problem. Now, sometimes is it useful or helpful to have the local currency, some of the local currency? Sure. We've actually had, we were gifted a couple of different times pesos, and we took the Mexican pesos and we took Mexican pesos down to the resort with us, and we use that to pay for different things, and it's fine. Now, it is true, especially if you're not savvy about the conversion rates. It is true when you see prices. Let's say you're staying at it's not an all-inclusive resort. Maybe you're staying at a condo or Airbnb in Cabo or whatever the case may be, and you need to go out and buy groceries. There might be two prices. You might see two prices there, like the U.S. dollar price and the Mexican peso price, or maybe you just see the Mexican peso price and you definitely need to convert it. But it is true they might gouge you a little bit on that conversion rate on the US dollar ones. I mean, that's true. The current conversion rate too, as of the time of this blog post, is about 20 to 1, 20 Mexican pesos to 1 US dollar. That's about as strong as the conversion has been in quite some time. It's been 20 to 1 or a little over 20 to 1 before. Our most recent trip to Mexico, it was about 17 to 1 under the prior administration. So I think the US dollar has strengthened for sure in the short term here against other currencies, seeing as how the rate is almost 20 to 1. Sticking along the strength of the US dollar right now too, the conversion to euros is nearly again 1 to 1, where it's been as high as 1.2 to 1.2 US dollars for every 1 euro. The euro is usually stronger. than the dollar. So it's interesting how that works. So let's just summarize this post. I apologize, is a bit of a stream of consciousness as it relates to that, with some. I think it was just a topic that was on top of mind. So let's say you do want to go ahead and get some local currency. You want to get some Mexican pesos because you want to be able to get that, the best value if you're going to the local stores or whatever the case may be. So we get our foreign currency at our bank, at our local bank. Our local bank does charge us a conversion fee of $7, and then it's whatever the exchange rate is at the close of business that I requested. So it's pretty cheap at our local bank. We did that when we went to Europe for the Mediterranean cruise, where we had to get euros. Euros were accepted at all the different countries we went to, and having US dollars would not make sense there. So if you're going to Europe, obviously you want the local currency. But if you're going here in North America, Mexico, the Caribbean, on vacation and stuff, not really a need to convert from US dollars unless you just want to. Or like you said, there's a particular reason why you want that local currency, depending on where you're staying and how you're doing that. So that's what we do. Now, the other item too is I've seen questions lately about exchanging at the airports. You fly down to Cabo and there'll be an exchange right there that you can use, and they'll have the exchange rate. So usually the exchange rate's going to screw you. So I just mentioned it's 20 to 1 right now is the actual exchange rate. It's a little over 20 to 1. Mexican pesos to US dollars right now. I would imagine if you're exchanging it at the airport too, it might be more like 18 to 1, and they'll say maybe those are the fees or whatever they take out, and just make sure that there's no additional fees. But as long as they exchange it to your satisfaction and you're okay with the rate, and there's no hidden fees that come out of it, that would be okay too. I would prefer not to do that because obviously they're trying to get every tourist that comes through the airport there. So I'm sure that it's not the best value you can get. If you want to exchange down there, I will go to a local bank that's down in the area you want to exchange if you were unable to get it prior to go. The best case scenario is to get your currency from your bank here in the United States. Now, some banks will screw you over on fees and exchange rates as well too, so you got to be a little careful. Our bank does not happen to do that. It's one of the reasons we bank there. Obviously, as you might know, I'm detail oriented, so I pay attention to those things when we pick out banks or vacation clubs or anything else. I affectionately call it detail oriented. My wife Christina likes to call it anal retentive. Probably obsessive compulsive would be the better term, like the more clinical term. But anyway, detail oriented, I think I like the best in there too. So I'd just like to try to pass on some of those tidbits that I've learned over the years traveling and booking a lot of trips, obviously for friends and family too, over the last few years since we've been members of the vacation club. Really enjoy that, actually. It's a fun thing to do. It's great to look forward to vacations and do different things and travel, especially get a little rest and relaxation. Anyway, sorry, let me come back to the foreign exchange. So again, just to summarize, really depends on where you're going, whether you need to convert your US dollars into the local currency. Again, anywhere here in North America, or even if you're going to Canada, you don't really need to convert your US dollars. You may want to if you go to Canada because the exchange rate is so pro US dollar. Like, you get so many more Canadian dollars now. The exchange rate is so great that you may actually want to do that. And again, the exchange rate for the pesos is really strong right now as well, but you don't have to convert your US dollars if you're going on a nice all-inclusive trip to Mexico or Jamaica or the Dominican Republic or Antigua or St. Lucia or any of those great Caribbean islands. So if you have any questions about any of that, feel free to contact us in the blog, in the comments down in the blog, and we will be glad to get back with you. Otherwise, happy traveling, and we will see you in the next blog post.